Hi. I talked to you before about the great Dumas dynasty of France, about the father, the romantic novelist, and about the son, the great dramatist. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about the originator of that family, perhaps the greatest Dumas of them all, the grandfather, General Alexandre Dumas. Now, he was the son of a French nobleman who, tired of the court life during the reign of Louis XV, who reigned from 715 to 774. So what he did was he settled on the island of Dominga, which is now called Haiti. Now, since he held the title of Marquis of Pailletterie, he was one of the highest ranks of nobility, and so he was warmly received by the wealthy planters of the island. But he chose instead to live among the Negroes. So, breaking completely from his past, he took a consort from among his dark skinned neighbors, and her name was Marie Dumas. Now, whether or not he actually married her is unknown, but it's believed that she ended up with the title of Madame the Marquis. Now, a year later, a son was born whom they named Alexander, and he was very dark in color. Marie died when Alexander was only 11 years old, and the grief stricken Marquis stayed on the island for another 8 years and then returned to France along with Alexander. Now, Alexander by this time was 19, and when the Marquis took another wife, Alexander hotly objected and decided to leave his father's home. The Marquis, just as angry as his son, told him, "I have but one request, young man. Do not take my name around with you to dishonor it." So the young Alexander rejected his father's title and name and took that of his mother, Dumas. Now, the young Alexander didn't really need his father's title to help him along in life, because by this time he had acquired such a reputation that he was already the talk of Paris. Standing 6'2" in his bare feet, he was indeed a black Hercules. He was able to bite through a steel helmet, sit a horse, and while under a tree, pull himself up on one of the branches until his chin was over it, taking the horse with him. He was also able to fit the barrels of 4 muskets over the fingers of one hand and then hold them out at arm's length, fingers extended. One of the other feats of strength that Alexander performed was to raise his right leg, support 2 men on his calf, and hop around the room. In all of France, there was only one swordsman who could beat him, and that was the Chevalier of St. George, who just happened to be black himself. Yes, the blacks also had royalty in France, as Alexander himself proved. I'll have a lot more to say about the Chevalier of St. George later. Now, Alexander was known to be generous and kind-hearted, but also hot-headed and quick to resent insults, and because of this, he got into a lot of quarrels. He fought his first duel at the age of 22 and won. A year later, he fought 3 duels in a single day, receiving a wound in one of them that he would have trouble with later on. When his son Alexandre Dumas, the novelist, wrote The Three Musketeers, he based his hero D'Artagnan challenging all 3 of the musketeers in one day on this incident of his father's. Too bad for him that his own father was just as hot-headed. But more about this next time.